This celebration is important to many people, not only in the United Kingdom, but around the world, and in particular to our people back home. The highlight of this evening's activity is to recognize the role women played in the Grenada Revolution, and the role in particular the National Women's Organization played in leading that process. But we need to go back in time a little bit, sisters and brothers, to get an understanding as to why we are here today and why we should not have been here today. In other words, why the revolution should not have been a thing of the past. In 13 days' time, we will mark the 40th anniversary of the revolution. In 13 days' time. When the revolution triumphed on March 13, 1979, Maurice Bishop, our then leader of the revolution, had this to say, and I want to quote you what his first revolutionary pronouncement on the morning of March 13. Maurice Bishop had this to say, and I quote, "Sisters and brothers, this is Maurice Bishop speaking. At 4:15 this morning, the People's Revolutionary Army seized control of the army barracks at Trublu. At the same time, the radio station was captured. Shortly after this, several cabinet ministers were captured in their beds by units of the Revolutionary Army. A number of police officers were also taken into protective custody. People of Grenada, this revolution is for work, for food, for decent housing and health services, and for a bright future for our children and great-grandchildren. The benefits of the revolution will be given to everyone, regardless of political opinion or which political party they support." Now, this is very important to note because it was the first statement made by the revolutionary leader. And it in fact captures the essence of what we were talking about the previous years when we were in struggle. This was really capturing our programmatic platform, which is our manifesto, and what we are going to be doing once we take power on behalf of the people for the ensuing period. So Maurice Bishop, on this historic day, on March 13th, crystallized our programmatic platform and pointed out what we are going to be doing and what its revolution was all about. This clearly indicated, brothers and sisters, that the revolution was a peaceful one. As we have said before, the revolution was bloodless. And our main focus was to, in fact, ensure that the living standard of our people begin to show a different kind of thing. We must bear in mind, before the revolution, the country was in a terrible state of affair. The unemployment rate was at an all-time high. 49% of the population was unemployed at the time. The cost of living was skyrocketing. Police brutality was on a rampage. And there was a total breakdown of human rights in the country. These are some of the features of the ongoing events in the country which led to the revolution eventually. There had come a time when the people felt that something had to be done. because just 3 years before 1979 there was election. And even though there was an anti-Gary majority in the country, the opposition forces still weren't able to take control of the country of Gary. We lost the election by a mere 2%, 48% to 51%, 6 seats to 9 seats. So while there was in fact an anti-Gary majority in the country, it was not possible to take power by the ballot box. So we were left with no choice but to move in a different way, an unconstitutional way, to take power on behalf of the people. And that is why March 13, 1979 happened. We must bear in mind that the Grenada Revolution was the first of its kind in the English-speaking world. This is a very important part we must note, because while there were revolutions of the past in different parts of the world, never before in the history did we ever witness a revolution taking place in an English-speaking country. This did not sit well with the United States of America, because for the first time you had black young revolutionaries taking control of their own affairs. And therefore, we would have been able to speak directly to millions of blacks inside of America, explaining to them what is happening in Grenada, what is unfolding. So this deeply affected the United States of America, and as a result, they decided to in fact take steps to undermine the process and to support the revolution. Morris Bishop, in fact, had to travel to America to speak directly to the people there, even though we were not on good terms with the Americans. But when he traveled to the United States in April of 1983, thousands of people gathered to hear what he had to say about the process that was unfolding in Grenada. This created even more problem for the United States. And that caused them to step up their work to further bring down the revolution. So we were operating in a situation where the revolution was under siege. And at the same time, we had to be delivering benefits to the people. So this created a tension. On the one hand, we had to prepare the country for an attack by the Americans at any time, and at the same time ensure that we bring the benefits to the people that we have promised them. So, during that process, because of the enormous work that we are undertaking, the pressure began to mount on the people. The pressure began to mount on our forces who were chiefly responsible for implementing the program of the revolution. We hit the ground running. Many of the programs that we implemented were programs that were in fact part of our manifesto. Our main program Sorry. What you have to appreciate, comrades and brothers and sisters, is that the benefits that we were in fact implementing at the time were greatly helpful to the majority of the population and were very popular. For example, our education system, which was a disaster prior to the revolution, began to take shape in a firm and revolutionary way. We implemented a program called the National In-Service Teacher Education Program. You have to excuse me, my voice is not there at all. The National In-Service Teacher Education Program was a fundamental pillar of our revolutionary program. That involved the training of teachers in a massive way to ensure that we had teachers prepared to educate our children. Prior to that, only 40 teachers used to be trained on an annual basis. But NESTEP was, in fact, a program designed to train all our teachers within a short period of time. But we had lacked the resources, all the resources to implement that program. So many of our teachers had to come from abroad, trained teachers from different parts of the world, gathered in Grenada to help implement that particular program. What is also important to note about NESTEP is that while the teacher training was taking place during the revolution, a program called the Community School Day program was organized to ensure that the children who were not attended to at the time were taken care of by the parents in the community, respective communities. So on the one hand, you had the teachers, in fact, being trained in one center, and at the same time, the parents in the community were rendering assistance to keep the children occupied while the teachers were away, and so on. That was very important for us to note in terms of part of our education policy. But there were other aspects of our education program. For example, the Center for Popular Education, the CPE. This was a program that was designed to, in fact, take people from where they were and bring them to wherever they wanted to go. Then the objective here was to ensure that every single person in the society was able to read and write. And if they wanted to go to a university, you can get the necessary preparation for that. So the Center for Popular Education was extremely popular. And throughout the country, there were volunteers in the various villages to assist delivering the content of that particular program. Apart from that, hundreds of our citizens were able to go on scholarships that were not possible before, because these were working people who, while they had the necessary foundation to in fact acquire higher education, they did not have the means. So the PRG was able to mobilize scholarships from around the world to ensure that our children get the necessary education that they desire. As a result of that, people were trained in medicine, agricultural engineering, economics, dentistry, and they are functioning today in our society. This is very important to note. Regrettably, however, the program of the revolution was halted. What is extremely important to note, apart from our educational policy, was that the PRG in fact implemented the social wage, which was of tremendous benefit to our people. The free school books, the free school, our free education program, our free school books and uniform program, our free healthcare program, our community building program. All these, in fact, were programs designed to assist the working people, and did assist the working people. But unfortunately, these benefits came to an abrupt halt towards the end of 1983, when things began to fall apart for the revolution. When we met as leaders of the party, we had to in fact analyze the situation and take the necessary steps to ensure that the revolution does not collapse, because things were happening very fast. Our leaders, our cadres, were undergoing serious fatigue. They were in fact collapsing under the pressure of the revolution, because we were delivering at home, and in fact making sure that things did not come to a complete halt. I have to ask you for next week. I'm not in the best state at the moment, because I'm not delivering as I used to. And I hope you understand me. But the revolution became under enormous pressure. And unfortunately it came to an abrupt end. And it is sad to be here today to talk about the revolution, and talk about the fact that those who, some of our dear comrades, died tragically in the process. It is not an easy thing for me every time I reflect on the situation, to know that we all struggled together, we fought as comrades, we sacrificed together, we bled together, we faced brutality together, and at the end, some of our fine comrades were dead, were killed, and those of us who were not killed spent 26 years in prison. It was a tragedy. I'm sorry I'm not in a perfect state to make a proper delivery here tonight. This is unusual for me. But I have been able to convey a few messages on this very important and historic day, the 40th anniversary of the revolution. Let us remember the spirit that the revolution generated. Let us remember the gains of the revolution. Let us remember the role the woman played in building the revolution, because the woman played a key role. And you're going to hear a lot about that from our sister. So thank you for coming. And may I say forever, backward ever.